Hello and welcome to the June market report for 2020. Before we get started looking at that, I just want to make sure that you received one of these bumper stickers. I mailed them out to as many of my friends and past clients that I could. If you didn't get one, it's probably because I don't have your address. I'd love to get you one of these bumper stickers. Basically, what this is a thank you for the COVID heroes, and I include nurses, doctors, of course, food providers, people that are risking exposure to the COVID virus to keep food on our tables, medical staff, medical researchers, medical suppliers, grocery store clerks, cashiers, truck drivers, and of course the first responders. So I've mailed one out to every address I have. If you'd like to get another one, or if you didn't get one, you'd like to get one, please let me know. I have a bunch of extra that I'd love to share. I'd love to see these on bumper stickers or taped on the back window. Personally, I'm not a big fan of putting stickers on my car, but I'm going to put one of these on there because as I'm looking around, I'm at the grocery store and I'm seeing that there's all that food for all these months. There's, the supply chain has been open and the people are out there with masks and gloves, and they're keeping the food available to us. So I just want to thank the people that are continuing to work, and of course, nurses and doctors. Really a big heartfelt gratitude towards them. So let me know if you didn't get one. I'd be more than happy to send one or two out your way. I've got a bunch of extra. Okay, thank you so much. So I want to get into the 2020 June market report for the San Diego real estate market. And we're going to go right into a share my screen so I can go right into this report that I put together for you. If you saw the one from last month, from May, it's changed, and no big surprise, but everything's been changing pretty quickly ever since COVID-19 and the shelter in place. But as we do some research here, you're going to see that the real estate market has been making it its own change, and it even predates the COVID-19 pandemic. So let's take a quick look at this market. Here it is. Okay, first, a quick summary of the parameters of the data that I collected. We're looking at residential homes only, no commercial, no industrial type real estate, residential homes only. We're looking at single family detached homes, no condos, no townhomes. The geographic area that I chose does not include homes listed above $1.2 million. And there's a very specific reason for that. And I'll go ahead and tell you what that is. The reason is I want to get, if you were to list all of the homes that have sold in the last 6 months or so, and you took the majority of the homes right in the middle, not the very, very top and not the very, very bottom, but the majority of homes, and you took that out, that's going to be a group of data that I think that applies to the greatest number of people that will be watching this video. I think it's indicative of the majority. Most of the homes are going to be selling in this price point. So I chose a geographic area that's big, so we can have a good feel for what's going on. But at the same time, it's excluding the luxury market. It's excluding condos and townhomes, because I want to be able to look at the same data month to month. And I've been doing the same geographic area for years. So I have a really good feel of what's going on in San Diego County, and I can share that with you. Now, if you want more specific information about condos, townhomes, let me know. I'm more than happy to put some data together for you, and we can talk about that. If you're looking at luxury homes, looking at selling the luxury home, buying the luxury home, let me know, because that's a really different market right now too. And as we're looking at the markets, geographic it's always a big factor, the geographic sector. And even in San Diego County, it can be really different from one point to the other in San Diego County. But on top of that, if you look at the price points, it's really different too, because of the lending practices. So that has a really big factor. And if we included the luxury market, it would really throw these numbers off. So let's go ahead and move forward. So what we measured is the number of homes listed for sale, that would be the supply, and the number of homes that have sold and continue to sell going into escrow, and that would be the demand. So we're looking at the supply and demand of homes in San Diego. We're looking at the average home prices and what they've done, of course, last month, but the prior 12 months before that. So we take a 13-month look at the real estate market, and then of course the days on market, because that has an effect on the real estate market. And it's a good way of just measuring what's happening as we move along. So first, we'll go right into the supply and demand. First, I'm going to show you on here, if you can see my mouse, that we're going to look at the listed homes, this blue line right here. The blue line shows the number of new listings. That's the supply, the supply of homes that are available to purchase. So, a lot of times we call that the inventory of homes. Right now, the inventory is less than a month, well under a month of homes. That's how short, how little supply we have. But if you look at this data, what's really interesting is it starts May of 2019, 1 year ago, a little over a year ago. The available homes, the homes coming on the market, has consistently come down every single month in 2019 from the time we started this graph, except for 1 month. Every single month, the inventory went down and down and down, where it bottomed in December. Now, that's not uncommon to see a slowdown in new listings in December. That's, I think if you look at the real estate market as a whole and trying to give it seasons, that is definitely the low point almost every single year. There's a few exceptions to that rule. Since then, the supply came back up a little bit to about the point where it was in November. Again, that was the second lowest point last year. And it's been hovering right around that same point, right around where we saw it in November of last year. And so we saw January, February, March, April, May, very little change in the number of homes coming on the market. So it appears that the number of new listings, the supply, is being very consistent. Now, I want to point something out that's very important. The number of homes that were available in January and February were actually down 15% compared to the same time last year. This is, we had heard about the COVID virus. It was in China. It wasn't in the United States at the time. And it certainly, we weren't sheltering in place, and it wasn't a big factor here in the United States at that time. So going into the year, we were already down 15%. Now, since then, we've seen that inventory remain fairly steady, but now we're looking at March, April, and May, which are usually the months where we see the number of homes available actually go up. A lot of people wait until the spring to put their home on the market, and we usually have a very robust spring. But what we've seen, it's actually steady. So when I look at the number of homes that are on the market right now in May compared to May last year, the number of homes coming on the market is down 37%. That's a huge number. And that means the supply is down. When we see supply is down, usually it keeps the prices up. And you'll see in just a moment the effect that it's had on the real estate prices. Now, if we look at the demand, last month, in the month of May, we've seen the demand actually go down 31% compared to last year. But we also have to keep in mind that the demand, or that the supply, is so low, and that's having a huge effect. So I don't think it's because buyers don't want to buy. I think buyers definitely want to buy. We're seeing multiple offers on homes, and there's active buyers out there looking for good homes, trying to secure these amazing interest rates. So we're seeing buyer demand, but not the same that we've seen in the past. And where I want to point out right now is that the last month, look at the orange line, the number of homes sold. It actually dropped. See how it dropped right here? Now, that could be a sign that the demand has lightened up a little bit. But I also think it has a really big factor, or the big factor here is the demand. Look at the low point of the demand right here before last month. This number always precedes the month prior. So the number of homes that sell in 1 month are usually based on the number of homes that became available to purchase 30 or 60 days prior to that. So we got to keep that in our mind as we analyze this data. So a closer look, what I really want to keep an eye on moving forward is the separation, where we've seen the number of listings be consistent, where in the past it would usually go up, and the number of homes purchased go down. In that separation, certainly not a sign that we need to panic, that we need to sell our homes right away, or the prices are going to drop drastically. Nobody knows what's going to happen with the real estate prices. And if we look back, we've seen separation like this before. Look here in December when we had a really low inventory. Remember when I talked about that just a moment ago? And then the next month, January, we had low sales. That's a classic example of looking at the available homes and how it's affecting the number of sales. So I'm not thinking at this point that this is a reason to panic or to expect prices to go down, but I think they're going to level off. And no one, and like I said, and I'll probably say it over and over again, nobody knows for sure, but I like to keep a really close eye on the real estate market so that we know what's coming forward. I try to be a few steps ahead of the alligators, if you will. Now, if you look back this time last year, there was an even larger separation, the supply and the demand. So again, this gap here, certainly nothing to be concerned about, but definitely something to note and to keep an eye on moving forward. So what do you think this gap means? If you're asking me, I think that we're going to see prices leveling off, at least in the short term. Again, moving forward, nobody knows what's going to happen. From that point, the prices could go up, they could stay the same, or they could go down. Days on market actually went up a tiny bit, but they were so low prior to that. In April, they were down to, I think, 11. And so for them to come up a little bit, it's still super short days on market. And that's a sign of the high demand. And then, what does this mean? If we see more supply and less demand, it's going to be more choices for home buyers, which is great news if you're considering buying. With today's interest rates are the lowest I've ever seen them. They're amazing. And with more choices, it's a great time to buy. So if you or someone you know are considering buying in San Diego, please give me a call. I'd love to share more information that may be helpful, and we can get you started in the right direction. So look at the home sales, average home sale price. This is 13 months. You can see in from spring of 2019 through the end of the year, that this line right here, this red line, it's about as flat as you can get. It went up a little bit and down a little bit, but on average, the homes pretty much leveled off last year, and we started seeing that supply pulling back. In January and February of this year, the supply was down already 15% compared to last year. And then of course, what happens then is the prices go up, and we saw it peak April of this year at 726 in this geographic area that I'm looking at. So it peaked, and then it appears to have leveled off, at least for the short time. And so what does this mean? If you're considering selling your house, this may be a good time to do that. Again, if you or someone else is considering selling, please give me a call and we can talk about this. And I'm not a big advocate of timing the market, but I think we need to be very aware, especially in these strange times that we're in right now. Days on market. So the days on market through last year, and you can see they hovered between 28 days, which is about 1 month of inventory, and down as little as 20. This year, we've seen them as low as 11 days on market, which is amazing. And again, that's because the low interest rate and the low supply. And last month, even though we saw the prices leveling off, and even though we saw that gap in that graph, the homes are selling in about 14 days, which is really, really fast. So just to review, the number of homes listed for sale was down 15% in the beginning of the year, January, February, compared to January and February of last year. And now it's down 37%. And that's a huge number. And that's going to have an interesting effect as we move forward. The homes sold is down 31% compared to this time last year. And of course, that's because of the low inventory. Average prices appear to be leveling off, at least for the time being. And the days on market are up just a tiny bit. One thing to keep in mind is that interest rates are at an all-time low. If you're thinking about buying, don't wait. Start the process. Let's get you talking to a really good lender, and I have the best lender around. So let's get together. Let's talk about this and get you started and get you qualified and start looking to see what's available. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. One thing I'd like to add: last month, when I did this video, if you happen to see it, I did discuss the forbearance and the effect that has if you're considering buying or refinancing a home. Now, within hours of me making that video, a lot of changes have happened that lenders have come out and said, you know what, if you did participate in the forbearance it's not going to prevent you from being able to refinance or purchase. And there's a big but in there, but you have to do certain things. So if you did participate in forbearance, if you're considering participating in the forbearance for rent or for a mortgage payment, um, and you want to know more information about that, how that will affect you, what you need to do moving forward to buy or refinance, call me. I'd love to talk to you anytime you'd like to talk about real estate and know what's going on. I'm available for you. So until next month, I wish you a great safety for you and your family, and I hope that we all get to go back to work, and God bless.